Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to share with you my traditional animation cels. As you can see here, animation cels, if you're not familiar with them, are how original cartoons were done. Nowadays, unfortunately, they're all done mostly by computers, although there are still some people who do traditional animation, and some processes are still used. They just don't usually put them on animation cels. And like I said, if you're not familiar with them, they're hand inked on the front with the colors of the outline. So everything you see here with the black lines, SpongeBob's outline, and here, all this black outline work, and Patrick, all that is inked on the front. And then on the back is how it's painted. And I will show you that actually on a different cel. SpongeBob is one of my favorite cartoons that's non-Disney, that still, to this day, still remains, as you know, probably, especially if you have kids. Even as an adult, I just love it because they throw a lot of adult humor in, which makes it fun. And the first season of SpongeBob is actually the last season that was done on traditional animation cels. So you can only get the first season of SpongeBob as animation cels. So we'll move on to the next page. As you can see here, there is SpongeBob with a funny face that he has there. And let me show you, I believe this one is a double cel. And I'll explain how that works. A lot of times, if they're doing an animated cartoon and only the mouth moves and not the body, they'll do the mouth on a separate cel. As you can see here, the eyes and the mouth and some of the spots are on a separate cel. And as you can see on the back here, this is how it's painted. And then it looks beautiful on the front. And like I said, so if his mouth were moving or his eyes blink or something and the body's not moving, then they'll save time by just doing the mouth or eyes on the top layer. So there's that SpongeBob one. I'll put that aside so I don't get that wrecked when I put it back in. This one is of Sandy. This has a two cel setup also, but the top layer is wrong. The person who sent it to me did not have the correct one because she should have, it's the rosy part of her cheeks that are on each side. And I believe this is the only cel I have of Sandy. Sadly, she's not happy in this one, but, you know, at least I have it. And the background you see here is not an original. They are printouts. I don't think I have any original SpongeBob backgrounds. So, on we go to the next one. And here is SpongeBob with his glasses with the jellyfish coming along with him. And this next one is from my favorite episode. This is from Jellyfish Jam. I've been working for a while trying to get the background. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do or have a painted background or just use a printout, but I do want to get it framed and put on my wall because sadly all this stuff is just sitting in a book and I don't get to enjoy it. But again, these jellyfish are actually, the jellyfish are painted on a separate layer. So if they need to keep some in the same place or moving, they can do so without affecting the SpongeBob one. So this is from Jellyfish Jam. Great episode. If you haven't seen it, it's great. Here are some traditional animation cel pencil drawings. These are drawn first, and then they scan these and put the outline on the cel. Sometimes, if it's all black. If it's colored, they have to hand ink those cels on the front in different colors. Sometimes the drawings are actually worth more than the cels because the cels are 100% hand-drawn, where sometimes cels are printed by Xerox process for the front, which actually started back in when 101 Dalmatians was produced. That was the first series where they actually used the Xerox process. So they would take this picture, they would Xerox it, and then it would get printed onto the clear plastic, and then they would paint the backside, and it helped speed up production. But I prefer the ones that were all hand inked. But it's really rough. It's very impressive if you see the line work people can get for these cels. And here's one from the intro of SpongeBob on every episode. Unfortunately, this one is not the correct cel setup. The SpongeBob is not the one that's supposed to be in there. But still, I have that. And here's my absolute favorite SpongeBob one. This is from Glove World, so kind of like Disney World. This one's about gloves. And this one also has a setup, like I mentioned on the other one, where his mouth, it's not lined up perfectly, so I'm moving it. As you can see, his mouth is on a separate layer, so he can talk without moving the body, which makes it easier for them. And then you can see the cutoff line. This is where it would be below, so you wouldn't see any of this. And on the back of background for this one is a bus that they're sitting in. So I love this episode. It's so much fun. And so there's that one. I think this is my last SpongeBob one. Yep. All right. On this one, this is a henchman villain from Sleeping Beauty. It's Maleficent's henchmen who do all her dirty deeds. This one is holding up well. Sadly, I have a really big cel that I got that has all of the villains, and the paint is starting to separate from the background, from the cel itself. So I'm considering having it restored and fixed in some manner. But back in the day, this cel, all the green line work that you see is all done by hand. Some of the cels had up to 20 different colors during the movie. It's absolutely insane. It took numerous years. I think it's between 5 and 7 years it took to make this movie. And mostly because of the background work. And from another one of my favorite animation movies is Fievel from American Tail. I still need to get a background done for this one and put it on a inner frame so I can enjoy it. Like I said, I do have another one framed from American Tail. I absolutely loved this movie. Actually, when I was younger, probably 15, 16, I even had the bed sheets and everything for it. But on this cel, you can see the process that I was talking about. This one would have been the Xerox process. So all this black line work is Xeroxed onto this cel. You usually can tell because you can see some of the pencil line that didn't clean up or disappear. So you'll see the little lines. That's usually how you can tell a Xeroxed one. It's hard to really tell up close, but you can see all the pencil sketch underneath. That's why they usually, if they don't want a line to appear, they will actually use a pencil like this one. It's a blue line pencil, and when it's scanned, the blue line doesn't show up, which is very cool. So that's why they sketch in these first, and then that line work won't show up on the cel. And here is a cel from a very underrated movie. It's Nemo, and it was made into a movie. Actually, I'm going to show you separately. It's Nemo in Slumberland. I think it's under an hour or so. I haven't watched it in a while, so I'll have to double check. But it's a great movie, and some of the cels are mind-blowing. Like the amount of work put into this movie. There was a lot of issues during production of this movie. It kind of wasn't going to happen, and then people worked on it, and it wasn't going to be finished, and so on. But eventually it got produced, and I absolutely love it. It was even made into a Nintendo game, which I used to play all the time. So there's that one. Another favorite artist of mine is Frank Frazetta, who is a fantasy artist, and with Ralph Bakshi, if I pronounce his last name correctly, they produced this movie, Fire and Ice, and I absolutely love this movie. I came across it as a teenager with my friend, and we just absolutely loved this movie. It has some great animation, and hey, it doesn't hurt to have a hot chick in it. And you see her booty bouncing and all that good stuff in the movie. But it's a great animated cartoon, and a lot of, as you can see, it's signed by Ralph Bakshi here. And James Gurney, and a bunch of other well-known artists who became even more well-known after this movie worked on this movie. They did the background art and everything for it. So if you can check it out, it's Fire and Ice by Ralph Bakshi, and sorry if I don't say his last name right. And it's a great movie, especially if you're in animation. Here's a not so well-known Disney movie, The Brave Little Toaster. And then there was spin-off movies to it. I just happened to have this particular cell, just because I kind of wanted one from each of some different types of Disney movies. And they're not too expensive. That's another reason I got it. And this background is actually an original, so that's kind of cool. And here is another Nemo cell. Just such beautiful work. I mean, it's so clean. And you can usually tell when cells are done by an anime type company who also does anime. A lot of traditional animation was all done in Asia. And so you can kind of tell the style of the art from that. So I have a bunch of cells from this movie, and I'm going to share them with you in a different one. But I just wanted to quickly go through these. Here's another one with him and his favorite sidekick squirrel. So, and speaking of squirrels, oddly enough, here is Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks, from the original 1980s version of Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's had several reincarnations since, and I still prefer the old traditional stuff. So let's see what we got here. Here is another toaster one. This is kind of a bigger close-up. You can see the pencil sketch in the background, which kind of shows where he is. I believe those are cabinets by the looks of it. And from another great movie that I love, by Don Bluth, actually, is The Land Before Time, which I absolutely love that movie. And this cell has 4 layers. This one, Littlefoot, is on his own. So is this dinosaur. The rocks all on here are separate. And then you have the dinosaur, which is a bit harder to see. That's the problem with the stack up of cells also. It becomes harder to see back. But this is from a very dramatic scene in the movie. Some of this was cut out, actually, because it was, I guess, too violent. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe that was the story for it. And I need to get a background done for this. But absolutely love this. And we'll move on. Here is, funny enough, before I acquired this cell, I asked one of the artists who worked on Land Before Time to do a sketch for me, and it's similar to the one that you just saw. But this is done by Paul Newberry. I have trouble saying so. And then, if you've seen my other videos where I gave stuff away, I do have some Ewok cells in here. And these are ones that I actually did myself. I was just messing around with this one. I was going to have it signed, but I didn't finish it. And here is a cell I did a long time ago by myself, just for my own personal collection. And here are some more original drawings from the Ewoks. let's see, do I have any more? I don't think so. That's about it for this book. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to have some more videos about animation. Actually, I'm going to have an interview I'll be doing with a Disney or animation cell restoration person. I was very intrigued, and he does incredible work, and so I arranged to do an interview with him, and I will have that on a future episode. So, and if you haven't already, please subscribe right here. And that helps support me and to see that you're interested in this type of stuff. And I will make sure to bring you more fun and entertaining things. And again, I thank you for taking your time to watch my videos. And I'll talk to you again more soon.